It's time for some tips on how to work from home. Now, if you're like me, you've probably been receiving a lot of tips on how to do just that. Well, I decided to do some meta research and look at all the different tips. I reviewed dozens of articles and hundreds of tips and collated all the results together. Those tips fall into 6 general strategic themes. I'm going to talk about one of those themes today, and that's the idea that you need to have a schedule for your day when you're working from home. Now think about it. When you go to work in an office, you go in at 8 or 8:30 or 9 and you leave at 5 or 6 o'clock at the end of the day. You've probably got lunch scheduled for noon. You've got a couple of meetings scheduled throughout the day. So you have a regular schedule. And in fact, if you're going to work from home, it makes sense to do the same kind of scheduling as you work in your home office. Now, how do you do that? Well, one of the ways is to have a daily to-do list. Now, you've heard about to-do lists before, but here's a couple of extra tips about that. First, take some time to write out your to-do list, either in the morning or the night before. From our time studies, we found that people spend just over 2 hours per week on short-term and long-term planning. That's when you're figuring out what you need to do during the day and a little longer term as well. So take the time that you need. Now, write out your to-do list, but don't just write, I'll work on this and I'll try and do some of that. Write out things that affect the past, the present, and the future. Well, the future is what you're going to do during the day. The present is, well, I've got some free time now and what do I need to be doing? And the past allows you to look back at the end of the day and say, did I get these things done? I want to be able to check them off so that I can get a sense of accomplishment. So create a to-do list that has a real specificity to it, that you're actually going to complete some actions. So you're not just going to make some sales calls, you're going to make 5 sales calls. You're not going to work on next year's budget, but you're actually going to complete the payroll portion of the budget for next year. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, but my to-do list is really, really long. Indeed, that could happen. So you have to think about your priority activities, and you need to plan for those first. So here's how to think about those. Ask yourself, if you had nothing to do today, and of course that never happens, but if you had nothing to do, what would you do to affect your results a month from now? Well, let's see, I'd hire that new staff person, I'd work on that new software project, and so on. Well, you can't do all of those today, so you need to break those down into the component parts you can do. So if you're trying to hire someone new, well, you could go through and choose out some of the resumes that you're going to follow up on, or you could schedule an interview. If you're working on the budget plan, okay, I'm going to complete this particular aspect of next year's budget. So those are things you can actually tick off at the end of the day. Now after that, you can fill in all of your responsibilities and your other requirements, but make sure you focus on the priority activities first and schedule time for them first. Whether you're at the office, in your regular office, or whether you're working at a home office, you want to book time for those when you're going to be most productive. Is that when your energy levels are at their peak, maybe in the morning? Or is it when you've got the most privacy during the afternoon when young children are out or are asleep or having a nap or whatever? So schedule your time in blocks so that you can achieve those high priority activities. So that's the idea for working from your home. Make sure to have a schedule, include a to-do list every day, and spend your time on what matters most.